Sentence a man who has been convicted of killing a toddler. 24-year-old Mortimer Saunders, who will be back in the High Court in Cape Town, was last month convicted of the rape and premeditated murder of 3-year-old Courtney Pieters. A decomposed body was found in Epping Industria in May last year, 9 days after her family had reported her missing. Now, reporter Vanessa is outside the Cape Town High Court and she joins us now live. Hey, Vanessa, horrific details have come out of this case. You would agree. What can we expect today?
Yes, good morning to you. Indeed, it has been a horrific case that we've seen playing out here since May last year. Of course, the toddler was not just poisoned, but also strangled and, of course, raped and her body buried in a shallow grave in the Epping Industrial area. Of course, Mortimer Saunders, a childhood and best friend of her father, Aaron Fourie, was then arrested the day after her body was found. And, of course, he was sentenced last month, or rather he was convicted last month of the rape and murder of the young girl. Now, throughout his trial, Mortimer Saunders had insisted that he did not rape the young girl, but instead said that he had committed necrophilia. Of course, that is performing a sexual act on a corpse. But Judge Mantame saying when she found him guilty that the state has proven its case beyond reasonable doubt that Mortimer Saunders had indeed abused his position of trust within the family and, of course, had poisoned the child, raped her and then hid her body. And, of course, 9 days later she was found. Now, we do know that this case has elicited strong reaction from across South Africa, various communities coming out and speaking aghast really that such a crime could be committed against a young girl. And of course, we've just come out of the 16 days of activism of no violence campaign, and this sentencing here in the High Court behind me will go quite a long way, I think, in terms of showing the public that justice will be served when perpetrators of violence against young children and women are brought to court and, of course, brought to book. Now, the National Prosecuting Authority has called for 2 life sentences. We know that the parents of young Courtney Pieters have said before that no life sentence or no sentence will bring back the young girl, but the NPA, of course, pushing for a double life sentence, and that, of course, one for premeditated murder and one for raping a minor. Judge Mantame is expected to begin sentencing at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and all eyes will be at the court. We do expect that once again activists from the community will come out in support to hear what the judge has to say.
Yeah, Vanessa, you mentioned the parents. How are they holding up?
We do know that during pre-sentencing procedures, we've heard, the court has heard indeed, that the parents are having trouble sleeping. Of course, it gets worse at night time, where we could expect they would usually put the little girl to bed, saying that this matter, no matter how long Mortimer Saunders will spend behind bars, it doesn't make life easier for them. And then, of course, compounded that the perpetrator was someone close to the family, so close indeed that he lived in the same house. We've also heard during the case from police testifying and so on that in about 80% of cases like these, the perpetrators are known to the families and, of course, known to the young victims. And 3-year-old Courtney Pieters would have trusted Mortimer Saunders completely, going into his bedroom to watch television. He was part of the family. So the parents, a year and a bit later, still battling to come to terms with the loss of the young child.
Vanessa, reportedly, Mortimer Saunders has penned a letter, seemingly a letter of apology. Can you confirm this?
Yes, we understand that Mortimer Saunders, or rather a letter of apology, has come out or has surfaced. Mortimer, of course, apologising not just to the parents and family of Courtney Pieters, but saying to everybody, saying that he has remorse for what has taken place. And of course, we did hear that during proceedings that Mortimer Saunders, with 3 children of his own, poses a risk to not society at large, but because this crime was committed against a young young girl, a young child, a toddler, that he does pose a risk. And of course, I think that the state this morning would be satisfied that they had indeed proven not just their case beyond reasonable doubt, as the judge did find last month, but fairly satisfied that they will get the sentence which they've been pushing for.
Okay, Vanessa put a live for us outside the Cape Town High Court. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. We'll catch up with you a little later on.